one is oblivious of the enormity of the problem at hand.
National Security Council meeting. Federal government set to take effective measures to combat crime and ensure peace and security of the country.
Urge the federal government to allocate more funds to the National Center for Disease Control.
Senate confirms Councillor Obiora as Deputy Governor as National Assembly insists that passengers entering Nigeria from coronavirus-affected countries...
And that Adoke himself should also give an undertaking not to jump bail.
Plus, an FCT High Court grants former Attorney General and Minister of Justice Mohammed Bello Adoke bail in the sum of 50 million naira. Hello, good evening and welcome to NTN Network News. I'm Joseph Johnson in Abuja. Hingunu John Adams is in Lagos while Chineye Wonye is in Enugu Network Center. A crucial meeting of the National Security Council has ended with a promise to take more proactive and decisive measures towards bringing to an end acts of crime and criminality in the country for sustainable peace and prosperity. The strategic meeting presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari harped on the need for better collaboration and synergy between governmental agencies and the entire society in the task of securing the country. State House correspondent Adam Sambo reports.
The National Security Meeting, which meets quarterly, is the highest security organ of the country responsible for coordinating policies on national security for sustainable peace, law and order. Presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari, the meeting, first for the year 2020, had in attendance Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, National Security Advisor, Ministers of Defense, Interior and Police Affairs, Service Chiefs and the Inspector General of Police. Directors General, Department of State Services, the National Intelligence Agency, and the Chief of Defense Intelligence were also present. The meeting, held behind closed doors, appraised the current security situation in the country and resolved to take far-reaching measures towards finding solutions comprehensively.
No one is oblivious of the enormity of the problem at hand. Government is aware, and that is why we had this meeting at the highest level. The issue of security in the context of the 21st century is not an issue of just arms and ammunition or robbers and gangsters. It's a multiple situation. The canvas is very, very extensive, and we're looking at it. Everybody understands the need for a whole of government's approach in collaboration with the whole of society approach to achieve a whole of nation approach. This situation requires everybody in the country to work together to deal with these challenges. So where there are gaps, we need to fill these gaps to deal with this problem in a comprehensive manner.
The National Security Advisor, flanked by the Ministers of Defense, Interior and Police Affairs, Inspector General of Police and Director General, Department of State Services, said discussions at the meeting did not center on any of the resolutions by the National Assembly last Wednesday in respect of the nation's security situation. In fact, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, told NTA News that the meeting had no connection whatsoever with what happened at the National Assembly.
The President, for some time, has scheduled a day every week for the holding of security meetings. So the President decides from his vintage position as President and Commander-in-Chief. There are things he sees that a lot of the critics don't see. And it is for Nigerians to give him the benefit of the doubt. He knows what to do. He will hold back nothing from dealing with these rogue elements that have made life difficult for our citizens.
He said the President is committed to doing everything that can be done to make Nigeria, Nigerians, and indeed the sub-region safer for all, saying, however, that this requires the hands of everyone to be on the table towards achieving the desired results. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has received in audience former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu reports that the visit by the former leader was the second in the last 3 months. Details of their high-level discussions held behind closed doors were not made public. Former President Goodluck Jonathan did not speak to newsmen after the meeting, which lasted about 30 minutes. This is the third formal engagement between President Buhari and the former Nigerian leader since coming to power in 2015. Former President Jonathan, however, attended the National Council of State meeting once under the Buhari presidency. And President Muhammadu Buhari says for enormous task of nation building to be achieved, citizens of the country must work towards greatly enhancing their productive capacities. This, he said, is necessary towards creating a big, more promising and prosperous economy. The president was speaking at an audience with the 2019 National Productivity Order of Merit awardees. State House correspondent Adamu Sambar again reports.
The 2019 National Productivity Order of Merit Award recipients were in the State House to formally appreciate President Muhammadu Buhari for the recognition and honor bestowed on them by the federal government, which they described as fulfilling.
Mr. President, with the encouragement that you have given us, our pains will be relieved. And indeed, we want to emphasize that best help is self-help. As you have encouraged us, we will move out there to continue to work hard to support your commitment to Nigeria and Nigerians.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who congratulated the awardees, said their recognition was based on nothing rather than their exemplary service, conduct, productivity, innovation, and excellence in their various endeavors. He described them as role models for all to emulate.
I will take this opportunity to encourage our citizens, especially our youth, to emulate your actions as we continue to work together to build the Nigeria of our expectations. As a government, we shall continue to focus on providing a safe and secure nation with policies and programs that will bring prosperity to the masses. I am confident that this goal is achievable if we put our differences aside and work together in the spirit of cooperation.
The federal government, President Buhari said, will continue to preserve the merit-based selection process of recipients so as to sustain the integrity and values of what he called the great tradition.
I am informed that the National Productivity Center will, on an annual basis, organize forums for first awardees to come together and exchange ideas on how to encourage selfless service and commitment on our day-to-day lives. Your tangible contributions towards protecting, developing, and enhancing our country and its citizens are your lasting legacy.
Records show that the 2019 awardees are diverse and outstanding, amongst them captains of industry, technocrats, public servants, media practitioners, and security officials.
Conferment of the award on them is very significant. It's significant because for the first time, the committee on the National Productivity Award paid particular attention to job creation in the economy of Nigeria.
The National Productivity Order of Merit is one of the highest honors any nation can confer on its citizens. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Let's turn to the legislature now, where the Senate has confirmed the appointment of Kingsley Obiora as Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Zikrola Olakunle Hassan as Chairman of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, and 9 others as members. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nko also reports that the Senate has called on the Ministry of Aviation to ensure that all passengers entering Nigeria from coronavirus-affected countries remain indoors for 2 weeks.
After a long sitting the previous day, Senator Adamu Bulkachua was not deterred from being the first senator to enter the hallowed chamber as early as 25 minutes past 9 o'clock in the morning as usual. ready for the day's national assignment. Plenary commenced with two matters of urgent national importance, with Senator Chukwuka Otazi drawing the attention of the Senate to the efforts made by the Federal Ministry of Health in preventing the spread of coronavirus into Nigeria. The legislators called on Nigerians to heed to federal government's advice of suspending any planned trip to countries where the deadly disease has so far been recorded, and for passengers coming into Nigeria to remain indoors for 2 weeks before mixing up with members of the public.
Urge Nigerians with any reported cases or of likely infection or with symptoms that approximate to those associated with the coronavirus to visit the hospitals for urgent health check.
The health ministry is doing well. It's a dangerous disease. In fact, myself, I was to travel to China a few days ago. I said, no, I will not go to that part of the world today. I don't want to die.
I urge the federal government to allocate more funds to the National Center for Disease Control, NCDC, to acquire the latest and most recent equipment that there is for research and diagnosis of tropical diseases.
The state of Nigeria's 4 refineries was the second urgent matter considered. Senate urged the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation to carry out a complete evaluation of Nigeria's 4 refineries for total overhaul and rehabilitation to international standard. Senator Yusuf moved the motion, which also mandated Senate committees on petroleum downstream, upstream and gas to investigate the state of these refineries and also call for a stakeholders meeting.
And save the country from further wastages and slippages of its meager resources.
Everybody is shouting about borrowing, that we should look inward. If we look inward, we increase our IGR, we will not go borrowing again.
The Senate has sworn in Senator Christopher Ekpenyong of the People's Democratic Party, who won in the just concluded rerun election in Akwa Ibom State. He represents Northwest Senatorial District of the state. The Senate resolved to advise the federal government to consider the decision of the appeal court, which recommends that the Federal Capital Territory indigents be included in the ministerial list. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTN News.
The House of Representatives has passed the National Roads Fund Bill, which seeks to improve road infrastructure across the country. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
The bill made provisions to ensure that funds are made available for routine and periodic maintenance of federal roads across the country. The House also passed the bill repealing the act that established the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency and enacted the Federal Roads Authority, which would ensure private sector participation. A bill seeking the establishment of Ramat Federal Polytechnic Maiduguri went through second reading. Thursday's plenary saw the lawmakers adopting a motion condemning recent killings in parts of Plateau State and the motion urging authorities to check the misuse of firearms by some security personnel.
There have been several instances where the members of the security agencies had used the firearms for purposes other than the protection of lives and properties.
As members of parliament, where the Nigerian people believe that we can speak and our voices can also translate into help for them.
The lawmakers, following a motion on alleged excessive use of force by the Nigerian Air Force over a contract on construction of an ultra-modern market in Rivers State, mandated committees on Air Force and Justice to investigate the matter.
Personnel of Nigerian Air Force invaded the project site, harassed and chased away over 1,000 workers on the site, including professionals and artisans, most of whom were widows of Nigerian Air Force personnel who were engaged to alleviate their poor condition.
The House also resolved to investigate the recent fire disaster at a building materials market in Lagos and Old Motor Park Spare Parts Market in Anambra State and urge authorities to assist the victims. Meanwhile, 4 recently elected House members from Sokoto, Ogun, Imo and Akwa Ibom states were sworn in at plenary. In another development, a delegation from the African Biblical Leadership Initiative led by Professor Jerry Gana visited the Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, to solicit his support on its upcoming conference in Nigeria, holding in October this year. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
In other news, Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed says unpatriotic individuals or groups peddling falsehood, claiming Christian persecution in the country should desist and join hands in building an egalitarian society. The minister stated this in the United Kingdom during his engagement with some media organizations. Anthony Fulson reports.
With a population put at about 200 million, Nigeria's two dominant religions, Christianity and Islam, have lived side by side peacefully. But the minister stressed that a handful of unpatriotic citizens have embarked on demarketing Nigeria with falsehood.
There's nothing like persecution of Christians by Muslims in Nigeria. To no length, they have not gone to demarket Nigeria. But the honest truth is that there is nothing like, religious persecution in Nigeria. Why is it happening? Is there any state in Nigeria that can call a Muslim state where there are no Christians? Not even Sokoto. Sokoto, for instance, has a bishop, a Kali bishop, and he's allowed freely to go about his business.
Lai Mohammed insisted that such venture is an ill wind that blows no one any good.
We must be very careful not to demarket our country just simply because we are unable to get what we want. We know what some people did in the run-up to the last election to ensure that this administration does not succeed. But since we have won, we call on everybody to put their hands together to support the administration. Any attempt to demarket this country will have very serious consequences on everybody, whether they are Muslims or they are Christians, whether they are former leaders or the present leaders. I think it's important for us to know that this country will continue to exist even after after 2023. So why are we going for broke? Spreading falsehood. And religion is a very emotive issue in Nigeria. But I know, as a member of this government, there's no official policy that that prefers one religion to the other. With cabinet is made up equally of Muslims and Christians, and there are even some. You see, people are just being very unfair.
On the nation's fight against insurgency, the minister appealed to the international community to support Nigeria.
This is not the time for the international community to withdraw its support in any form. Terrorism is a global issue, and mankind has a common destiny. So we call on all world leaders, all nations to support us in this hour, because when you allow terrorism to thrive in one region, it will affect other parts of the world.
Lai Mohammed's engagement in the United Kingdom continues. In London, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Let's just take some messages. Do stay with us. I'm back shortly. You're welcome back. You're still watching NTA Network News with me, Joseph Johnson. Let's turn our attention to the judiciary now, because the Federal Capital Territory High Court sitting in Gwagwalada has granted bail to the former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mohammed Bello Adoke, in the sum of 50 million naira with one surety in like sum. The second defendant in the money laundering suit brought by the EFCC against Adoke and two others was also granted bail in the sum of 50 million naira with one surety in like sum. The third defendant in the matter was, however, granted bail in the sum of 10 million naira with one surety in like sum. As part of the bail conditions, the defendants and their sureties were directed to deposit their international passports with the court registry, while the sureties must have landed property within the jurisdiction of the court.
The surety should have evidence of tax payment in the last 3 years, and that he should write an undertaking to always ensure that Adoke attends court on all days when the case comes on, and that Adoke himself should also give an undertaking not to jump bail, and that he will always attend court, and that breach of these terms may lead to revocation of the bail.
The Prosecution Council declined comment while the case has been adjourned to the 27th of March. And the Federal High Court, Abuja, has declined to grant a stay of proceedings in the trial of former Benue State Governor Gabriel Suswam in his trial for alleged corruption. Justice Okonabang also notified the parties that granting such a prayer is a contravention of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act of 2015. Olabode Arewa reports.
The former governor of Benue State, Gabriel Suswam, and his commissioner for finance, Okolobia Omadachi, are standing trial on a 9-count charge bordering on alleged embezzlement of Benue State funds to the tune of 9.6 billion naira. At the resumed trial of the matter this Thursday, Prosecution Counsel Leke Atalagbe indicated interest in calling the fourth witness, having previously called 3 prosecution witnesses. Citing Section 240 of the 1999 Constitution, however, counsel to the defendants, Chinelo Ogbozo and Paul Erokoro, SAN, pleaded for an adjournment, citing a pending appeal, challenging the jurisdiction of the trial court to entertain the matter. The appellate court has reserved judgment on the appeal being relied on by the defendants' counsel. Citing Section 306 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act of 2015, which outlawed the stay of proceedings in criminal matters, the prosecution counsel opposed the motion, arguing that since the appeal court did not order a stay of proceedings in the matter, the hearing should continue. The court agreed with submissions of the prosecution counsel, which empowers it to hear criminal cases on a day-to-day basis. It is in the light of this that the court adjourned further hearing on the matter to Friday, the 31st of January. The court ruled that the defense counsel has 24 hours to peruse the additional proof of evidence served on them by the prosecution counsel. During the arraignment, the 2 defendants pleaded not guilty to the 9-count charge preferred against them. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
To other matters now, First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Muhammad Buhari, has reaffirmed her determination to continue to use her privileged position as the mother of the nation towards the promotion of lives of women, youths and children in Nigeria. Mrs. Buhari stated this at an event on the remembrance of Nigeria's former First Lady, late Maryam Babangida, founder of the Better Life Program for African Women. State House correspondent Aliyu Kabir reports.
It is on record that the former First Lady of Nigeria, Maryam Babangida, was at the forefront of championing the cause of women in an established structure of the office through the introduction of Better Life Program for rural women. This initiative marked the beginning of active participation of First Ladies in socio-economic programs aimed at uplifting the status of women in Nigeria. This event is specifically organized in memory of late Maryam Babangida and upholding her legacies of total dedication towards women emancipation. Amidst of the wives of the former heads of state and presidents from 1960 to 2015, the First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Muhammad Buhari, who acknowledged the establishment of the administrative structure of the previous First Ladies and the role they played in their various capacities as the spouses of the heads of government, as well as their roles as mothers in promoting gender equity and development, and has caused the importance of taking steps in making positive contributions in every way possible, especially through the PET project. She emphasized that her future assured program will remain a vehicle to impacting positively to the lives of women, youth and children in the country, especially at the grassroots.
In recent times, increase in critical cases such as drug abuse and gender-based violence have become of great concern. My commitment to discourse of such issues led to the setting up of the Presidential Committee, in which Her Excellency Mrs. Dolapo Shibanjo and I are among the members. We will continue to do our best under the prevalent circumstances towards finding solution to this social menace.
She commended specifically Aisha Babangida for this laudable initiative and urged her to uphold the spirit. Wives of the first president of Nigeria, Uche Azikiwe, Victoria Ironsi, Victoria Gowon, as well as Ajoke Mohammed, dwelled extensively on historical development of Nigeria from 1960 to 1985 from the perspective of first ladies, all targeted towards improving lots of women and children. In Abuja, Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
Now, adhering to healthy lifestyle could save individuals from contracting some communicable virus and infectious diseases that can, of course, keep emerging in the world in recent times. This is the message at this year's World Neglected Tropical Diseases Day celebration. Viewers' discretion is advised. Over to Basita Ekbang for details.
Nigeria joins the rest of the world in marking World Neglected Tropical Diseases Day, which is the first of its kind, with campaigns to create awareness on the need to collectively eliminate the diseases.
We must remove these tropical diseases, neglected tropical diseases, out of the way.
Because the disease spreads across the country and beyond Nigeria, and it does not have respect for your status or your tribe. It can affect anyone.
What are the causes of these diseases, and can they be passed from human to human?
Good disease, it could be caused by a virus, could be caused by bacteria, could be caused by protozoa.
The theme of this year's celebration, Beat NTDs for Good for All, experts say is aimed at promoting the elimination of NTDs in Nigeria.
We shall continue to strengthen our health system, pursue opportunities for mainstreaming NTD control within several programs of our Ministry of Health, aiming to provide universal health coverage to citizens.
Nigeria is said to contribute about 40% of the disease burden in the world. These experts say call for collective action, as the time to eliminate the disease in the country is now. Basi Taipan, NTA News.
So talking about the coronavirus, the World Health Organization has declared as a global emergency the outbreak sparked by a new virus in China that has been exported to more than a dozen countries. The UN Health Agency says it constitutes a risk to other countries and requires a coordinated international response, even as scientists race to understand how exactly the virus is spreading and how severe it is. China first informed the WHO about cases of the new virus in late December. About 7,800 cases, including 170 deaths, have so far been recorded in China, with 18 other countries also affected. The Office of the Accountant General of the Federation has started its public sensitization on financial transparency with the Nigerian Television Authority. Project Officer Arab Kolo, while introducing the finance staff of the Nigerian Television Authority to the transparency portal, said the policy is irreversible and urged public servants to urgently key in. Leah Katumba Batunde reports.
Last December, the federal government institutionalized the financial transparency policy and portal that requires the publication of public finance information through the Open Treasury portal. The idea is to entrench transparency and accountability to the public and cooperating partners as part of ongoing reforms in the public finance management space. The Office of the Accountant General is embarking on massive sensitization in line with open government partnerships with Nigeria has assented to. The Nigerian Television Authority (NTA) is an early bird as the Finance Directorate meets in Abuja ahead of the take-up of the Finance Law, February 2, 2020.
That is why we partner with the Office of the Accountant General to train our staff so that we key into it without any problem. The first thing is accountability. Now it's transparency. Whenever a policy is introduced, especially financial policy, we are always the first to key in.
And also we want to mobilize civil society organizations to show interest in the information they are getting from the portal so that we can fine-tune governance for the betterment of citizens.
This training is crucial for transparency as the staff get to interface deeply. Accountability, driven by technology, remains at the center of ongoing reforms for better service delivery.
All what you are doing, you must publish it so that in such a way that people will look at it and assess it
and give you mark.
With this, NTA is poised to become a trailblazer in good governance through strategic partnerships such as this with the Office of the Accountant General. In Abuja, Leah Katung Babatunde, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has again made a case for private sector investors to join hands with government in development of youth and sports in the country. This, he said, is critical towards achieving national unity, stability and sustainable growth. The president was speaking while flagging off the movement of the nation's Touch of Unity for the 20th National Sports Festival, scheduled to hold in Benin City in March this year. State House correspondent Adam Musambo has the report.
Indeed, an exciting moment to behold as President Muhammadu Buhari formally lights the Torch of Unity for Edo 2020. With prayers to Allah for a successful journey, the president symbolically flags off the movement of the torch across Nigeria, heralding the 20th National Sports Festival beginning in March. President Buhari noted with delight that since inception in 1973, the National Sports Festival remains a useful avenue for interaction and integration for the youthful athletes while showcasing their best in sports. This, he said, informed the intervention by his administration to host the last edition of the festival in the FCT in order to salvage the sporting fiesta from permanent closure.
May I once again reiterate this administration's commitment to continue to support and provide an enabling environment for the development of sports at all levels. I therefore call on both the public and private sectors to play active roles in youth and sports development in Nigeria.
They adopt an athlete or stadium campaign initiated by the Ministry of Sports, he explained, is one of the useful ways to create opportunities for participation by firms and individuals, and therefore invited sports lovers and enthusiasts to take advantage of the initiative to be part of raising the banner of sports in Nigeria.
We are in another Olympic year, and our athletes will be joining other nations of the world to participate in the Olympic Games, which starts on July 24th to August 9th, 2020 in Tokyo, Japan. I join all Nigerians in wishing Nigerian team best of luck at the Games, and I urge them to be good ambassadors of our country.
The Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Dare, said with the flag of the Torch of Unity is expected to move around all the states and the Federal Capital Territory before finally arriving Benin City on March 22nd for the opening ceremony of the 20th edition of the Nigeria Olympics.
The Torch of Unity for the National Sports Festival carries with it the objectives of the festival itself, chief amongst which is to symbolize unity, peace, friendship, tolerance, and hope amongst Nigerians. It is my hope that all concerned stakeholders will accord the Torch of Unity the right spotlight it deserves.
The minister thanked President Muhammadu Buhari for identifying with the festival, which he described as a testimony of the importance his administration attaches to youth and sports development in the country. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Still talking about sports, countdown to Abuja 2020 Powerlifting World Championship. First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, has called on Nigerians to continue to support Team Nigeria's sportsmen and women of powerlifting in their efforts towards making the country proud during the forthcoming global competition. The First Lady stated this during the unveiling of the branded kits to be used by athletes and the officials during the events. This is coming against the backdrop of the courtesy visit of the main organizing committee of the event to the State House, who have briefed the First Lady on the situation reports. They explained that all is set for the event.
I would like to put it on record that these athletes, Christian the Unstoppables, have been doing great. They have, in fact, taken giant strides on behalf of this nation.
And they are still trying to make it up to make sure they bring the medals. We choose not to disturb them today.
The First Lady, who is the brand ambassador as well as the grand patron of the event, reassured them of her continued support for a hitch-free exercise.
From what I've seen so far, like you people are more than ready. Everything is set, just waiting for the D-Day. I hope that everything is sorted out in order to have a hitch-free exercise. And we wish Nigerians all the best. We wish all of them all the best.
The event is expected to hold between 4th and 7th of February this year. It's now time to join Hingunu in Lagos for more reports on Network News. Hingunu.
Thank you, Joseph, for joining us in Lagos. We begin here with issues surrounding the novel coronavirus. The Lagos State and Chinese government are in close synergy to effectively tackle and contain the spread of the novel coronavirus from reaching Nigeria. This is to ensure that Chinese who went for New Year celebration do not return to Nigeria until the virus is effectively controlled. Imole Ayotokede has details.
The outbreak of coronavirus reported in China, which has seen about 6,000 cases, more than 100 deaths, and 18 countries affected, Lagos State, with a population of more than 20 million people, serves as the main point of entry into Nigeria from the southwest, housing the largest number of citizens from China, and Nigerian traders traveling in and out of China makes the state vulnerable to the spread of the virus. The Lagos State Commissioner for Health, Professor Akin Abayomi, says the state government is aligning strategies with health organizations across the globe to effectively curb the virus.
We are in regular contact with the Federal Port Authority, particularly the Health Authority at the Muritala Mohammed International Airport, where we are ensuring that everybody coming into Lagos is going through some form of screening. We have some additional recommendations, particularly on patients coming in on the airlines that are coming from Southeast Asia, to ensure that we have contact details and are able to trace everybody that is coming in, particularly on that route.
Symptoms of coronavirus include headache, fever, pneumonia, muscle ache, kidney failure, and cough. Persons experiencing these symptoms in Lagos are expected to call these numbers on the screen or report to General Hospital, Yaba. In Lagos, Imole Ayotokede, NTA News.
Talking infrastructure now. Several houses along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway are to give way for the construction of an interchange and flyovers on some sections of the road. Director Highways Southwest Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, Funsho Adebi, disclosed that some houses on waterways along the expressway will also be affected. Dotun Oguyemi reports.
Not an easy task contending with traffic in Lagos, but that did not deter the ministry's team from its duty. Areas visited include Apapa Oronshoki, Ikorodu Shagamu, Lagos Ibadan, and the Lagos Badagry Expressways. The team is mostly satisfied with the pace of work as contractors are complying with terms. Issues, however, standing as delays to their completion will be urgently addressed.
We have gone extra mile also to review our scope of work and break the team into two, so that we will have two teams working simultaneously from both Bega as well as RCCA. Another challenge we are having, which we are also addressing, is the issue of borrowed pit. The suitable borrowed pit we located is having some pockets of hitches, which the minister has taken up with the villa to call the state governor of Ogun State to discuss and discuss this matter so that it can be resolved early.
These huge investments are critical as it directly affects lives and businesses, of which the federal government is committed to their speedy completion.
We are recovering our right of way along Apapa already, and we have also done a kind of recovery around that Kara Bega area. It's a continuous exercise, and we shall continue to. Any of our roads will not be taken over by traders.
The director stated that affected individuals whose structures would be demolished will be duly compensated. In Lagos, Dotsun Ukunyemi, NTA News.
That's our contribution from Lagos. More reports from Joseph in Abuja after this break. Please stay with us.
This is NTA Network News, and we are back in Abuja, but not for long because we are joining Chineye in Enugu for the next set of reports. Chineye, it's all yours.
Thank you, Joseph. Good evening and welcome to Enugu. In line with federal government's efforts to improve the standard of education in the country, as well as promote entrepreneurship, about 50 teachers and artisans drawn from the South-South geopolitical zone have benefited from a week-long training at the Scientific Equipment and Development Institute, SEDI, Akuke, Enugu. Babingwin and Ramsin Odudu are some of the beneficiaries of the training, which was basically on engineering, fabrication, welding, electrical and woodworks, meant to promote science and technical education, as well as make the youths become self-reliant.
More science teachers will be encouraged to come up here, get the same training that we are getting. I promise you that whatever we've gotten from SEDI Enugu will be given to the children.
I pray that Almighty God will give me the wisdom and the knowledge they gave me to this side to use it and excel.
Head, Inspection and Monitoring Delegation, Office of Special Duties, Abuja, urged the participants to bring their innate and acquired skills to bear in their areas of specialization.
We're talking about entrepreneurship. For them to go over there and, and expand their skills.
Managing Director, Scientific and Equipment Development Institute, SEDI, as well as a lecturer from the institute, commended federal government's efforts aimed at improving science and technical education.
For some years now, we've been embarking on this skill acquisition and training of teachers.
The business of human capacity development that encapsulated the content to develop science teachers and add value to them.
Certificates, starter packs, and science kits were presented to the teachers and artisans. Participants were drawn from Akwa Ibom and Rivers states. Anambra State government has taken steps to ensure the supply of potable water to various communities in the state in line with the federal government's program to end open defecation. Uche Nwekoyo reports.
Governor Obiano inspected Aguleri Regional Water Scheme expected to supply water to more than 10 communities within Anambra East, West, and Ayamelum Council areas. The first phase of the project, to be completed in April 2020, will be reticulated to more than 5 kilometers, covering 3 communities, while the second phase, that will cover 8 more communities, will commence on completion of the first phase.
So this is a slow and steady progress that is being made in ensuring that our people have 24-hour drinking water supply, in accordance with what is happening abroad. We want to be the first free open defecation state in Nigeria, and we are targeting to do that. All this water that we are doing is to facilitate that, because without water, it may be difficult to achieve that in many areas.
The state governor also inspected OBZ Oga Regional Water Scheme, abandoned for more than 10 years now. The state governor gave a marching order to the contractor to work hard towards delivering the project April this year. The OBZ Oga Regional Water Scheme is expected to be reticulated 40 kilometers, covering more than 14 communities. The water projects are done by the Anambra State government in partnership with the European Union. From Oga in Agwata local government area, Uche Nwekoyo, NTA News.
Abuja for more on the network news. Good evening.
Chineye from our Enugu Network Center there. Let's take a few messages. We're back.